Are joined in the studio
by Claudia Graham. Claudia is a candidate for the, House Representative Post 143. That's Lawrence County and a portion of Johnson County. Now, this post has been vacated because Dubose Porter's held it down for a number of years, and he's running for governor. And Claudia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
And how long has Dubose held this post?
He ran in 1982 and was sworn in 1983, so he's been there ever since.
Wow. And so naturally he had to let go of the post.
To run for governor, that's correct.
Exactly.
So he's running for governor and you want his chair.
People ask me all the time if I can fill his shoes, and I say no, but I can do it in much higher heels.
She can balance on the heel.
Okay.
That's right.
How many of you are actually running? Because I know I've got the list. I have to call them down and, offer them the equal time. But how many?
Well, thank God it's Friday, and you won't have time to get them all on here.
No, we have to find time. But anyway, how many are running?
Well, there's 3 more in the Democratic primary, and then one in the Republican.
Oh, okay.
So if I get through Tuesday, and I hope I will if everybody turns out and votes, because the other representatives, they're going to do it part-time, and I'm going to do it full-time. If you do it right, it's a full-time job.
Well, and let me say, when I was reading up on this before Denise contacted me about getting you on the program, I was looking at the bios and the backgrounds of the different candidates, and actually I think I took a jab at you and didn't know it was you at the time because you are a political consultant.
That's right. People that's running for office for the past 6 years have hired me to help them get elected.
So what possessed you all of a sudden to go, hey, I'm going to throw my, not pun here, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring?
Because I looked around and I was the best person for the job. I'd spent 6 years on the job training in Atlanta while the Senate and the legislature's been in, and I know how the deal works. I know how it starts from being a local need to get in the budget to be funded, and I've got more experience. In this job, you learn on the ground. You don't learn it. Can't go to school, you learn it by being there, and I've listened and learned.
Now, post 143, that is all Lawrence County.
And a little bit of Scott, half of the Smith District down in Scott.
All right. That's in Johnson County.
That's right, Johnson County.
What would you say is the most pressing issue for that district?
The same thing as is all over the state, jobs and employment.
And how would you think that we could go about changing that?
Well, having worked for Senator J.B. Powell and Senator Freddie Powell Sims worked for JB for the last 6 years, and Freddie Sims for the last 4. I know that companies from Europe's over here and Asia's over here all the time looking for places to come in the States because we've got cheap land compared to what they have in Europe, and we don't have cap and trade. And that brings the opportunity.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, but in that, and we have opportunities to get companies here, and I'm going to be real aggressive about getting them, working with the chamber and the elected officials and the development authority to get them here.
Okay, a lot of the main industry down in that area is farming. That's very, very...
We used to be more of an agricultural community than we are now.
Okay.
It's hard for farmers to make a living.
All right, how would you say that to go about getting these businesses to want to come to the area, to the district down there? What would you do to entice them? What would you do differently?
Well, there's only one way to crack an egg. But I've lived there all my life, and I'm real familiar with the county, and we've got a lot of things to offer that a lot of other people don't have. We're working on our schools. We're getting them up to par. We have beautiful school buildings. We have a highly trainable workforce. We have an excellent hospital. We've got a really good recreation system, and people look for that when they start.
Oh, sure they do, yeah.
And we have
quality of life goes into drawing business into town.
I'm glad Claudia's here because, and we'll take this in a different direction. It was a week ago today in the 6 o'clock hour,
right,
where Brad and I were talking about the Redneck Games coming to East Dublin.
Right.
And I was talking about my 3-year tenure, my second tenure at State Broadcasting in Dublin, and the time that I actually lived in Dublin off Coney Street. And maybe, Claudia, you can answer this. There's just something different about Dublin, and I've lived in many places, but there's something different about Dublin than any other place I've ever lived. And I'm not talking about in a negative way. Some of it is positive and some of it is negative. And I could never put my finger on what is so different about Dublin than any place I've ever been. I don't know if it's cliquish. I don't know. It was just an interesting feel about the town. It was just a different state of mind, frame of mind. And maybe you're being a Dublin native, right?
Oh, I got to fess up right now. I'm from outside of East Dublin.
Oh, okay. Well,
Outside of East Dublin?
Yes, I
when
am.
you talk about Dublin and East Dublin, people have to understand there is a difference.
There is a
Don't
big
go
difference.
in East Dublin and call it Dublin because them's feuding words.
After you cross the river, it's a different mind.
It's a different entity. Completely. You cross that river, go from Dublin to East Dublin. I mean, you've got Dublin, North Dublin, South Dublin, West Dublin, part of Dublin. East Dublin, yes, East Dublin.
Well, actually, you got Dublin, East Dublin, and the county.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, what is it that's so different about Dublin? Your opinion, and do you understand what I'm talking about? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe you don't with being a native from there.
Well, a lot of people say that it's not that easy to fit in, but I don't have any problem fitting in anywhere.
Well, I mean,
and
I
can
fit in
see
okay.
that about
Yeah.
you.
I think that I fit in okay when I was down in the Big Dub, as we called it, but it was just so different, more different than any other place I've ever lived.
How would I answer that? Well, I've lived in Dublin. I've lived in East Dublin. And I live outside of East Dublin. Now, I don't want to put on airs.
Oh, okay.
But I've heard other people say that. I don't see that being a native. But I did go to the Redneck games, and had I thought, I would have brought you one of my koozies. I had camouflage koozies with it printed in orange. You can't hide redneck. We're proud of ours. Elect Claudia. But I did bring y'all one of my fans.
There you go.
No, great, hand me one.
That way we can make sure our head stays cool in the thing. Thank you so much, Claudia.
And since I'm the only woman in the race, I've capitalized on it. And do y'all remember when George Bush was president, the first George Bush, and he said, "Read my lips, no new taxes."
Uh-huh.
And then when Ann Richards, the governor of Texas, was she gave the opening speech at the Democratic convention. She said, "Read my lipstick, he lied." So Ann Richards started the slogan.
And
So
you're
I'm
gonna
the
sort of
only
pick up-
woman, so I'm saying, "Read my lipstick, elect me."